A good Wednesday afternoon to you, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. This weather video driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities, Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89, looking at the Burlington waterfront and looking across the lake into the Adirondack Mountains. Weather map discussion, you're looking at the bigger picture here. We have one storm system really in the center of the country. It's been producing some snow on the backside, mixing with rain. It's almost a spring-type kind of setup here, the look anyway. We got a major ridge of higher pressure aloft out ahead of it, and it's producing a surface area of higher pressure that's sort of stretched along basically the northeast coast of the United States. This is influencing our weather, and we're seeing a decent amount of sunshine with a little bit of kind of a high cirriform cloud. And other than that, temperatures are making a nice gradual warm-up here from what they've been back a couple days ago when it was really cold. Looking at the current setup, you can see the precipitation fields with snow on its sort of back end and the colder air on its northern and northwestern periphery. This is an area of low pressure that's going to be taking a track toward us. It's going to develop another surface low kind of out ahead of it and work its way, push into the region, and it looks like it'll take a track a little bit to the west of Vermont. And so there's a southeasterly gradient wind that will be developing, and this will be in play starting Saturday night, about the same time the snow shield begins to work into the region. We're also looking at marginal temperatures with that, and generally warmer than normal temperatures, kind of pushing things into the little bit more of a wetter type snowfall. And where the snowfall is at its heaviest in the southern counties of Vermont, we'll have to keep a close eye on some wet snow loading aspects, especially along those eastern slopes where the upslope component will be. And then immediately downsloping winds will take place along also portions of southern Rutland as well as Bennington County. Wind gusts are indicated somewhere in that 40 to 60 mile an hour range. It's a little far out to get detailed, but that means we're probably going to see some gradient wind gusts and potential impacts for utilities with those winds. Let's take a look at the computer modeling. And you can see high pressure that's kind of elongated, centered along the coastal areas, and this is controlling and influencing our current setup. And what we're going to do is advance these now every 3 hours, and that area of higher pressure controls our weather today. No real issues. It begins to weaken once we get into the day on Thursday, and you might notice there is some precipitation here in the form of snow, another reinforcing area of higher pressure. Now watch what happens. This is going to kind of be a frontal system, but it's going to go through very dry, really hardly noticeable, and then that area of higher pressure on Friday afternoon, 1035 hectopascal, that's going to be transiting across Quebec and into the Canadian Maritimes. You can see our area of low pressure beginning to form now and pushing in from the Great Lakes. And then along what we call the triple point, there'll be a secondary low that'll form around here. And you can kind of see the indications of that in the Delmarva region. This is going to be taking a track and then kind of pull up. As this is the main primary area of low pressure, it's going to pull that low pressure system further to the north, but a lot of energy transfer. And that's what's going to set up our southeasterly gradient winds and a little bit of an upslope component with some potential wet snow loading, but that looks a little lesser an issue for utilities. And this is how it shapes up. And this is through 06Z. So the leading edge of this weather system is going to push some snow that's going to arrive, it looks like, late in the day on Saturday. This is valid at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So as we run the model here, you can see a little bit of an increase as we get into Saturday night. This is valid about 4 in the morning on Sunday. That would be 7 o'clock Sunday morning. And the area of low pressure begins to pull away. It looks like we do get a kind of a dry slot aspect. There could even be a little tiny mix of some rain on valley floors. This weak area of lower pressure then pushes off to the north and east, and kind of the leftovers of the trough of lower pressure is going to continue some snow shower and snow flurry activity until later about midday of Monday. It looks like things begin to dry up and pull away. High pressure builds in, although not real strong. Looking beyond this period, it looks like into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, here comes another area of higher pressure. And so we're looking at primarily drier weather. And to the GFS ensemble we go, centered on Montpelier, Vermont. This is our main storm system for this weekend. Notice it's pretty dry out ahead of it, and we dry out behind it, but there is some little leftover flurries and different things going on there. Now, looking at the total amount of QPF, looks like this. We're looking at about 0.6 of an inch over time. Really not a huge storm, not the biggest deal in terms of precipitable water either. Kind of get an idea here. It's about 55 hundredths of an inch. That's really nothing for this time of year. It's not a big deal. And then we'll take a look at precipitation type. There's just a tiny bit of hint of rain that is also indicated by the European model. And that would happen basically on Sunday, but this is our main event here. And precipitation type is in the form of snow, so that's good news there. Total snowfall amount, generally about that 4 to 5 inch category for most valley floors. Of course, you could probably add another 2, 3, 4, 5 inches on top of that for our local mountains. But we're looking at generally a light to moderate snowfall for this up-and-coming weekend. And let's see, last but not least, we'll take a look at temperature levels. This is 2-meter temperatures. You can see that we kind of top out above the freezing mark, but nighttime lows stay below freezing. And then at 850 hectopascals, our temperature is measured atop the generally the level of about Mount Mansfield. Notice that's a little bit above normal, a little bit above the freezing line there, and then we start to slide down with colder temperatures aloft. Not a great amount of precipitation indicated by the Weather Prediction Center 7-day total QPF. You can see we're running about a half inch, 25 hundredths of an inch further to the north. Very dry across Canada where the colder air is taking place, and it looks like a big uptick in Northern California, Pacific Northwest rainfall. A lot of incoming precipitation coming in off the Pacific. The climate reanalyzer kind of indicates that we do have a lot of, getting back to 2-meter temperature anomaly, you can see pretty substantial warming taking place across Quebec, Ontario, and then back into Western Canada, downsloping off the Rockies, causing Chinook winds and warming things up a little bit. And some of that is, of course, across the west. This is the leftover of the colder air that's been pushed off to the south and east. And so up to the north of us, the Arctic is kind of more or less variable. And temperatures over the next 5 days, the meteorological output statistics are MOS. Mean temperatures for the next 5 days, these are highs. You can see that temperatures are pretty warm. And but about 3 days later, it even gets warmer in a lot of places. A little more neutral down in the southeast United States, some parts of the Rockies and so forth. We're running sort of in that sort of 6 degrees above normal mode. WCX webcam looking at Pico, and to the right of that is Killington off over here. Pretty snow covered. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.